Hey guys, Khalid from Cricket Fanatics magazine here with another episode of the podcast live show. And I'm here again with Dan, and today we're going to be discussing something very close to us both, very close to our hearts, and hopefully something that is very entertaining for you guys too. So, we're going to be talking about the domestic franchise competitions and basically the teams and which moves have been taking place during this period. So, over the last couple of months. I think actually more than close to a year over. It must be a year now. So there's been a lot of things that has happened with regards to all of the transfers. So I call it transfers, and it's very similar to maybe footballers, and that's why I say transfers. But Dan, what do you want to talk about first? First of all, I want to talk to you about what you've done this weekend and what you've done this week, and we normally catch up. So,
So this weekend I've just been, watching and rewatching highlights of Arsenal winning their 14th FA Cup, or as we like to call it, the Arsenal Cup. I was thinking about I think I'd rather finish 8th and get an FA Cup than what was it, third and no cup.
Here you go again.
I think we both have the same chance of winning the Champions League. So I think I've watched the highlights about 45 times. But I will say it was a dodgy penalty. It was a dodgy penalty and a very, very soft red card. So I will accept some Chelsea supporters coming in the comments with some spice.
I don't know why I was going to give you the benefit of the doubt and hope that you're not like every other Arsenal fan. I don't.
I saved it for now. I didn't say anything the whole weekend. I just saved it for this.
I still think that us finishing in the Champions League is a bit achievement, I think, with the squad that we have, but we can agree to disagree. I mean, if we win the Europa League, hopefully, then I think Europa League and ending in the Champions League is a bit achievement. That's a European trophy.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the Europa League final, I reckon.
That will be an awesome final if it is that. I'm a bit scared of Aubameyang. You're lucky that you actually kept on to him. I held on to him because he's a proper star for you guys.
Yeah, for now, though, we'll see.
I mean, they made him captain, so
yeah. But there's no loyalty in football anymore. He'll leave in a week's time. He doesn't care.
Yeah. So everybody, welcome to everybody in the comments. I can see you guys are coming in with your comments. Let's do this, Dan.
Yeah. Firstly, thanks to Ayanda for the topic. It was actually his idea. So
yeah. So thanks a lot, Ayanda, for giving us the opportunity and giving us the opportunity to talk about this. We have one comment here for Dan over here saying that the ref was dodgy. So that is very true. And he even has a FIFA 19 emblem, so he knows what he's talking about. So Dan, let's get going. So as we know, there were a lot of transfers, as I say, or moves from clubs to clubs. I think it's a record. I don't think there's been so many movements or transfers in a season before as much as there was. I don't know exactly what the holistic number is. You might know, you're the stats guy. So I don't know the exact number, but I know it was at least 4 per franchise. So it is quite interesting on the way we're going to do this. So let's start with the Titans. I'm going to put up the team at the bottom of the screen so all the guys can see at the bottom as well, and these are the guys that have moved to the Titans from other clubs. So you'll see the clubs in the brackets and the clubs that they moved from and the people's names. So let's start over there with the Titans. I think the big name over here from my perspective was Tandon. I didn't expect him to move so quickly from the Cobras after his first season. So that was my biggest shock for me, as well as I don't think the other ones surprised me. I think Makania was getting his time at the Dolphins were getting a bit stale. I think the same for Akula Tlele, and with the amount of movement to the Warriors and the amount of moved from the Dolphins, etc., and all other franchises, I think the Titans is probably the best place for him to move to. I think it's the biggest opportunity for him. And the same with Lizard Williams. I think his time at the Cobras was getting a bit stale. I know from talking to him on a regular basis, I just got a feeling that he was looking for a bigger challenge or a different challenge. Trying to get into that Cobras team was a challenge for him to get consistent game time. They even loaned him out to the Lions at some point. So it is it's quite tricky. Yeah, but what one stands out for you over there with regard to the Titans?
Yeah, so I think just firstly, I think the Titans initially they didn't have the strongest bowling attack last season. Just on paper, if we look at their bowling attack, they were definitely a batting side, the Titans, in my opinion. Without Lungi and Gidi in that side, whenever Lungi and Gidi joins the Proteas, I think they're very thin in the bowling department. And just off the top of my head, I know they lost Corbin Bosch and the spinner, Manak. Is it Manak? I got that right? Yeah, Manak. So I think their bowling was thin already, and then they've just lost two of their, you can call them premier bowlers, right? So they were in big trouble. They needed to get themselves some bowlers, and they have. I mean, they've got a young Thando Ntini who isn't quite, he's not an established 4-day cricketer just yet. Off the top of my head, I don't know if he's played 4-day cricket. I know he had some good momentum 1-day cup games. But by no means an established 4-day cricketer. Obviously, he has the potential to become one of the best fast bowlers in South Africa. But I think they'll be fairly happy with the three seamers they've gotten in Tini and Ele and Williams. I think those are three good enough seamers to get them through a season across more than one format.
Yeah, and also I think it's something that they have depth in now. So when they lose their Proteas players, like you said, they have bowlers to back them up. They've never had issues with their batting department, I think. I think their batting is quite strong. You'll see some of the other guys that they've let go, etc. We have a mention here from Complete Singh. He says, "Do you guys think Pekrova is good enough to bat at 7? Did you guys have faith when he can recover from the Proteas?" Okay, this is a comment that we're going to get to a little bit later. Sorry, I should have read it before I brought it on the screen off my game today, Dad. So let's move on to the next team. We know that it's not in particular order. Yeah, I just thought that the Titans was a good one to start with because it was pretty simple. Their moves were pretty simple.
Yeah, I thought the Cobras might want to hold on to Williams.
Yeah.
The Cobras obviously didn't have the greatest season. I don't think they won a game of 4-day cricket. If I'm not mistaken, I think they finished bottom. And he's a decent player. I think he's even contributed with the bat down at 9 or 10 a couple of times. So yeah, I think that is a loss to the Cobras, and it's a big gain for the Titans. So they'll be very happy with that. I think he even captained the Cobras once or twice last season in the absence of a couple of players.
You see, the tricky one is trying to balance there because they have quite a young bowling lineup with regards to the likes of Andre Berger now as well. That's pushing for a Proteas position. We also know about Akona Manyaka that's also pushing for a position in a place in that side. I do still think that they have a bit of a bowling problem, but that's, I think, why they made the moves that they did. So here's the Cobras moves. My biggest thing was them finding a Black African batsman that can perform on the top level. And I think that was the biggest thing for me. But they have strengthened their bowling as well. Someone like Tsepo Moreke, who's consistent with the ball, some experience. I don't think they also brought in Onke Nyaku, who's an all-rounder, who's a good bowler as well as Coben Bosch, who's a quick bowler. So it's a tricky one because, and as well, they brought in 2 guys from Poland as well. Ismail Khavildin and
2 batsmen.
Yeah, one bowler and one batsman. Yeah, so one decent bowler and one batsman, and it's Zubair Abrams. Ziad Abrams. I must have mixed up the names. Yes, so the Muslim names. It's Ziad Abrams and Ismail Khavildin. So Khavildin is a batsman. We did a nice talk with both of them on the Lockdown series, so you guys can go to our playlist on the channel to go check that out, and you can find out more about them. But what is the big move for you over here? I think I know, but I want you to hear it from your mouth.
I agree. It's definitely Tony Dezorzi. He's the big move there. I love that. I think he's a flipping quality player, especially in white ball cricket. We know he's got the potential in 4-day cricket. I watched him hit a double 100 at Newlands. So hopefully he sort of matures into that 4-day cricketer that we know he can be. But the problem with the Cobras is they look very good on paper, right? So they've got Peter Malan, Yanaman Malan, Zubair Hamza, Carl Verena, Jason Smith. This is a quality batting lineup. And then the Proteas play a game. Peter Malan goes, Yanaman Malan goes, Hamza goes, Carl Verena goes. And, all of a sudden it's like, shit, guys, where's our top six? Who replaces these guys? So I'm glad Tony de Zorzi's there. I don't think he'll be getting an international call up in the next season. He's definitely, I think it will come in the future, but he's not at risk of, being gone for an entire season. So I think that was a good purchase. The kind of players that you want are the ones that aren't going to be with the Proteas for 10 or 12 months. You want the guys that are very established franchise cricketers who aren't going to get picked for the Proteas, essentially, which is Tony de Zorzi at the moment. As quality as he is, he isn't at risk of going to the Proteas immediately, right? They've really strengthened their kind of all-rounder department, right? So Onke Nyaku is a really underrated player in white ball cricket, in my opinion. I think he's one of the more economical ODI and Pro 20 bowlers that nobody talks about. Kind of like Magala, it's one of those guys that just doesn't get spoken about enough. We know Corbin Bosch can bat. He's not just, a young fast bowler. He can definitely bat. And Calvin Savage, exact same thing. He never really got a run at the Titans. At the Dolphins, they've obviously got a lot of good fast bowlers there. So I'm glad he's made the move. But we could see them with like 3 of their bowlers being able to bat. They could be batting to 10 next season. You could have Corbin Bosch batting at 9 or something like that. So the Cobras are definitely a stronger side than they were last season, in my opinion.
I think so too. I mean, the fact that they lost Roddy Kleinveld, they needed to replace those wickets and runs. And also, I think that's also why they allowed someone like Lizard to go, because they have Jason Smith lying on with the ball as well. He's been taking key wickets, especially in the middle overs for them. And it's an opportunity for him to have a full season, because I think that Jason was one of the most talented boys when he came out of school. Like, everybody was talking about him being the next Cullis, and not just because he went to Wynberg Boys and he had 6 threes. I don't know if you guys know about the trees and how the trees work at Wynberg Boys, but for the guys that don't know, you get a tree for every century that you score, and you get to plant it, but you have to buy your own seeds, apparently. According to Jason, you have to buy your own seeds so you can plant it on the field. So basically, trees will grow over a long period of time around the fields, etc., on the first team field. So, yeah, he won 6. Cullis only had 3, which is amazing. And I think Levy had, if I can remember correctly, I think Levy had 10 or something like that. So something ridiculous. I was like,
Carl Verena was at Wynberg as well, I think.
Carl was, yeah, but Carl didn't. I don't think he had many. He still told me that's not one of his biggest achievements. But Jason was phenomenal, 6 threes, and he was spoken about as the next big thing. But I think he struggled to get consistency in the Cobra side, because obviously with the likes of Vernon Philander, when he came back from Proteas duty, he has to play, because Proteas must play. And then obviously Roddy Kleinveld is someone that will obviously play. So there's another person that was keeping him out of his position. So he could never really solidify his spot. The thing that's key to me over here, compared to the Titans have a very experienced lineup with the likes of Grant Thompson over there, etc. Grant Thompson, the captain over there. And like, I don't know who's retired and who hasn't retired. I know that Farhan Beardin is moving. But they have quite an experienced lineup compared to the other sides. Bringing someone like Lizard Williams in, for example, the Titans, it's someone that is a little bit older, that has a lot of experience. He's not old by the age, but he's old by experience. He's played some long and hard yards. He's put in the domestic scene and semi-pro cricket. He's worked hard to get where he is, so he brings some good experience. So with the Cobras again, this is where my worry lies, because they have a very young side. I think the Moreke will be now probably their oldest player besides Peter Malan, if Peter Malan is consistent. So like, it's a very, very young batting side. And are you fearful of that? Or do you just think, are you one of those guys that believes that if you're old enough, you're good enough? If you're good enough, you're old enough. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're good enough, you're good enough. I think experience does count for a lot, right? Like you need your Rory Kleinfeldts and your Dane Peets and your Pike van Billions and your Robbie Freilinks and your Peter Malans and those kind of players, those guys that have just been around for years and years and years, right? I think they add a lot more value than people realize. Obviously, we don't watch any of the games; we just see numbers on ESPN Crick Info. These are the intangibles that we as 4-day fans don't get to see. So that will definitely count against sides that don't have that. But at the same time, I think the Cobras have some quality youngsters in Milan and Hamza and Verena and Jason Smith. I think those are some of the best youngsters in the country at the moment, right? I would like to see Jason Smith, we were talking about him earlier, kind of focus on his batting. Like we were saying, like Rory Kleinfeldt kind of pushed him out the side. Jason Smith should be in the side as a batsman alone. Who cares if the guy bowls or doesn't bowl? He should be there as a batsman, in my opinion. I'd like to see him in the absence of the Malans and Hamza and Verena say, put me at 4. I can bat at 4 in Red Bull cricket. I'm not a all-rounder that must bat at 7. Put me at 4. Give me that opportunity to prove myself as a batsman, and I will give you 10 overs if you need me to. That needs to be his role. He's not Rory Kleinfeldt. He's a batsman that can bowl. So I'd like to see him really put his hand up and have a go at sort of that number 4 position.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to go into some of these comments here.
Yeah, I did want to actually. So yeah. I want to, before I go into these 2 very important ones over here that I want to talk about. I'm going to start with this one because this is an interesting one. Sorry, wrong one. This one. So who is the opening bowlers for the Cobras in our opinions? So I know that Nandre will open. That I know for a fact. My problem is who's going to open with him. So that's the problem because Strade Bukaku is now gone. Someone like Lazard Williams is gone. We don't have Rory Kleinfeldt anymore to open the bowling. You don't have. So who opens for them in 4-day cricket? I mean, I know in maybe in white ball cricket. So in white ball cricket, we know maybe Corbin Bosch can open for them. So with Nandre, for example. But I'm a bit concerned about who's going to open the bowling for them with regards to if I think about it. If I think about the lineup. I don't know. You see, my problem is also I don't know if.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, man. I don't know if Ziad Abrams is bought as a backup or is he being bought so he can be put into the first team immediately because he bowls about 130, 140. He has the ability to be able to open the bowling, I think. So that's a bit of a concern for me.
Yeah, they might. Ashel just might ask Corbin to really step up. He's not a youngster anymore. He's about 20. He's about my age. He's about 20, 26, 27. So I don't think it's too much to ask him to listen. Now he has the opportunity. You didn't really get it at the Titans. We know Ashel's known for backing youngsters and giving them opportunities. So you could easily give it to Bosch and say, mate, you're my new ball bowler for 2 formats here. And we've seen youngsters thrive on that kind of backing. We've seen Wandile Makwethu when he got backed consistently now at the night, he scored runs compared to when he was in Pretoria and he was sort of in and out of the side. So we know that backing a youngster can work at times. At the same time, you don't want to throw someone in the deep end if they're out of their depth. Calvin Savage would be another option. Personally, I think Bosch is a bit better than Savage as a bowler. That's probably I'd go with.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna bring up the next one because I think that Tim's comment over here is really true. Because a lot of their players are actually going to be playing in the shorter formats. So Janneman, obviously Janneman and
Carl
Verena. We don't know if maybe George will get maybe a chance in the shorter formats now with T20s, etc. I don't know if they're going to try him out there. But that's when they're really going to struggle, I think. What's your thoughts on that particular comment?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the Cobras will specifically be hit by that the most. I mean, Janneman Milan will probably be in and around that squad, and so will Carl Verena. George Linda hasn't got a call up. Zubair Hamza hasn't got a call up. Nandre Burger's far away from the white ball side, in my opinion. I think if he gets picked, it'll be in the red ball stuff at the moment. But I mean, just that in itself, losing Jan Milan and Kyle Verreynne causes big problems. All of a sudden, you need an opening batsman and a wicketkeeper. Who comes in then? The replacements aren't. Are they franchise level cricketers or are they semi-professional cricketers? So you can be in a situation where all of a sudden your two best batsmen are replaced by two guys who may or may not be able to play at that level, and that's a huge net effect on your side, right? It's not like you're replacing two very good players with two good players. Often we've seen in South African cricket, and you and I disagree about this very often, is the lack of depth. And very often we've seen franchise sides unable to replace players when they go up to Proteas. And that speaks to the quality of the semi-professional setup at the moment, in my opinion. But it is a good point by Tim. So maybe white ball players will have more of an influence than the red ball guys.
Yeah, we need to also remember that the transformation targets. So I think that the fact that they're bringing in Onke Nyako, Tony De Sozi, and Tip Momareke, I think they will start. I don't think there's an option of them not starting. I think they'll have to. And then obviously in the top order, I think they're banking on the fact that Peter Malan might just be permanent in the test team, because I think they need Tony De Sozi to play consistently so that they can cover not only because of his quality, but also because they need a black African batsman to make up the numbers, and he's a black African batsman. So those three players, that covers it, and then they've still got Zubair Hamza, Jason Smith, and then they can.
I think if Tony does play, I think if Tony does play the red ball stuff, I don't think he'll open. I think he'll slot into that middle order in the 4-day.
Okay.
4-day stuff. Personally, I don't think Peter Malan will be an option for the Proteas. Well, not an option. I think he will be in the discussion, but I think they will go with Aidan Markram and Dean Elgar, right? So I think the Cobras will be fine with Peter Malan. He's a good player. He's got a good record, but he's not Aidan Markram, in my opinion. So I think Tony will sort of slot in that maybe 5-6 position, kind of depending on where Smith is, where Verreynne and them slot in. But that could be a really, really, really strong side. Because, I mean, if you think about it, there's even a chance Zubair Hamza doesn't get an international call-up, right? Like, we're still very, very iffy about that. So they could be in a situation where they lose Peter Malan and Hamza and George Linder into the test side, if the Proteas go that way. But just as easy, they could be in a situation where they don't lose those three players. We could easily bat Keegan Peterson at 3 instead of Hamza. We could easily play Dwayne Pretorius at 7 instead of George Linder. We could, it's these things are all sort of unknowns at the moment. So it's very difficult as a franchise coach to have all this uncertainty. You can't pick your team now that you want to play next season because you have no idea who's going to be there and who's not going to be there. It must be extremely frustrating. But yeah.
Yeah, I've also spoken to my sources at the Cobras to find out who the new captain will be. They are going to be having discussions over this week to find out who they're going to trust in that position, because I think that's a very important aspect, because Pitt was incredible for them over the years. He really led them to a lot of he led that bunch of youngsters. He knew how to be able. He was very good at operating between youngsters and the older guys in the side. He was very good at being able to bring them all together. He was that cog. So hopefully now with this new team, a new captain, etc. Jason Bird is also Jonathan Bird over here. Jason Smith and Jonathan Bird. They're saying maybe for number 6. Jason Bird. Well, I'm not on my game today. So that's talking about me the whole weekend editing articles for hours on end.
Yeah, I mean that's a quality side that this guy's put in there. Then you add George Linder at 7, and you've got arguably the best top 7 in the franchise. Probably by the Lions side. But how many of those guys are around there? I mean, if you look at this top 5 he's given there, they could all be playing for the Proteas in the next 18 months. Every single one of them.
Sure.
Milan and Zorn and Verreynne could easily be in the ODI side.
Yeah. So okay, let's move on to the next one then. One that I'm pretty excited about, to be honest. The Lions are looking stronger than they've ever looked, I think.
They're the best side on paper.
They've brought in some top quality Black African players, including a top batsman from the Titans, who's, I always say it's the same in football. So with regards to me and United, I want United to sign players that are on the brink of becoming great. I don't want them to buy full ready-made products. Yeah. So guys like Luther Sopamla is on the brink of becoming great. I mean, becoming a regular in the Proteas lineup. Sisanda Magala in the T20 format. Okay, yes, he's experienced, but he's on the brink of getting maybe a spot in a T20 side that we so desperately need for the World Cup when the World Cup happens. And then you've got a guy like Wesley Marshall, who is a potential very, very strong potential batsman for Lions to fill up that when they lose their players as well to Proteas call-ups. The likes of Risa Hendricks, if you're going to play in ODIs consistently. When they lose guys like Temba Bavuma to the test side, etc., someone like Wesley Marshall slots in there. So a very talented side, and some decent additions, including Claude Bukaku. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they're definitely the best side on paper, right? Like if you just look at the names and you go through there's some quality players that will actually even start to miss out, right? So I'm just going to pull up their squad now in front of me. If I just think of some bowlers that are going to miss out here, so you've got obviously Rabada, he doesn't count. Bjorn Hendricks, Aaron Pangiso, Bjorn Fontaine, Vian Mulder, Nono Pongolo, Aldred Hawken, Delano Portfita, Siboto, Sipamla, Magala, and Bakako. 11, so what they've clearly done is what they're going to do is they're going to separate the formats. They're going to say, here's my red ball team, here's my white ball team. Yes. And you're not going to see Magala playing 4-day cricket. It won't happen. You're going to see him bowling Yorkers in ODI games, T20 games and whatnot. That's going to be his baby, But I mean, it's just absurd. Like some of the quality that's not going to be played, that's not going to make the side. I mean, I kind of like to see a few of those like shift off to the Titans. Let's try balance this out a bit. But I think they'll definitely win the 4-day format. I think their bowlers are just. I mean, it's just too. They've got the best balance, right? They've got quality batsmen. They've got quality fast bowlers. They've got 2 quality spinners in Pangiso and Fontaine. I mean, like Fontaine might not play 4-day cricket. He's not going to make the side. He'll be the ODI and T20 bowler. They'll probably play 2 spinners actually. They've got a good all rounder in
the 4-day game. That was so. I didn't say something like that in their last game to win the championship.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, and then they've got Dwayne Pretorius and Potgieter as all rounders. I just think in terms of balance and format specific players, Mulder. I think and Mulder, I mean, they've just hit the nail on the head there. They've really pulled together a strong side. And there's no reason that they couldn't win the 4-day and the Momentum 1-day Cup over stuff. They could easily do it. I think they won the 4-day and came second in the 50 over stuff. So I mean, they just missed out to the Dolphins, I think.
Yeah, I see Wesley Marshall being as a direct replacement in the top order for someone like Rassie. I'm missing out on Rassie van der Dussen in all formats. Basically, he's going to play for all formats for South Africa, most definitely. And I think that's the guys that are really going to. That's the guy that I think is going to really step up. His mentality is amazing.
I mean, if we look at Vian Libber, he left, Vian Libber's gone to the Warriors, if I'm not mistaken. If that guy, as good as he is potentially, I'm not saying this is why he moved, is potentially worried about getting game time at the Lions, they're a good team. If someone as good as Vian Libber, who could easily be playing T20 cricket for the Proteas tomorrow, right? If he's a bit worried about his spot in the side, you must know that they're a quality outfit.
Also, one of the top players, Miguel Pretorius, as well.
Yeah, Pretorius, he looked at those bowlers and he was like, "Listen, Oaks, I'm good. But fuck, I'm not. What can you do?" Obviously, they will struggle without Rasi Fadadison and Temba Bavuma, but that's when your Marshalls and your those guys start coming through. Lutus Pamla, I think, will be with the Proteas a lot more than we think. I think he's going to become a definite white ball specialist. I think he'll play ODIs and T20s for the Proteas going forward. I think that's definitely going to happen. And I mean, he's not even far from a test call up, if we're completely honest, right? Like it's Rabada,
the top seaman last season in the 4-day franchise.
Like Rabada, Ngidi, Nokia, Hendricks. After those four, who's next? It was Patterson. He's gone. He's a callback now. So who's after that? And it must be Lutus Pamla, right? So he's not far away from a test call up even. So they could be without his services. Magala, like you said, one of the best death bowlers in South Africa, without a doubt. Like the stats don't lie. So they've really pulled together a powerful squad.
So let's move on. Before we get to my,
I didn't even mention. Sorry, Vandenberg, Shaylin. Thank you. I mean that flip.
Yeah.
If there's an underrated player in South Africa, it's Vandenberg. The guy's been scoring runs before. When I was like in preschool. It just speaks to the quality of wicketkeeper batsmen in South Africa at the moment, right? Like we'll praise Quinton de Kock and like Rudy Second and Calvarena and Kashile and Makwetu, and then like if we have Nicky Van, if you add him to that, it's like 6 guys who could probably play international cricket, right now. So as often as I talk about the lack of depth in SA, that's one little area that I think we're sort of covered. And that goes to, you can kind of put them in the same category as Dane Pitts and Rory Kleinfeld, these guys that have been around for so long and add so much value.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be the red ball keeper, and I think you'll see Ryan Rickleton being the white ball wicket keeper.
Yeah. And also, look here, you might be surprised and see someone like Bryce Parsons maybe make a appearance or two.
Joshua
Joshua Richards. Gauteng has an amazing new system. It's just
two franchises. Let's get another franchise there. Joburg.
Let's move on to the dark horses of the tournament. Every single year, people count them out, and every single year they prove people wrong, and that's the Warriors. Now, the Warriors have made an incredible move of a year that I never thought was going to happen. Is seeing Marco Jansen and Vian Lubbe move from the franchises that were at. They were. I think Marco Jansen is a massive find for them because we're going to get to see him on a regular basis play, and he deserves to. He deserves some chances at the top level, and I think run by Robin Peterson as well. We're going to talk about the coaches a little later, but the Warriors have a very talented side, and a lot of their players don't play for the Proteas. So a lot of the players that they have, they stay the entire season. They don't lose a lot of players.
Exactly, so and that's where the Warriors are going to pull back when these Proteas players are gone, and the Cobras are suddenly a bit thin. The Lions are relatively thin compared to where they could be. The Warriors aren't going to lose any players. If you just let's just go through some of their batsmen at the moment. Matthew Breetzke, Jan Klutter, Vian Lubbe, Marco Murray, Eddie Moore, Gwepe, Kashile, Rudy Second, John Smuts, Yassine Valley. 10 quality batsmen there. They've got 10 batsmen that aren't going to play for the Proteas, if we're completely honest. Like Eddie Moore, maybe. John Smuts, maybe. But, these guys, they're going to be there. So, and that's how you actually have to rank these sides. How strong are they when the Proteas aren't there? And in my opinion, then it becomes like a Lions versus Warriors thing, right? And there's no reason the Warriors couldn't beat them. The Warriors could easily beat them. If you look at their bowlers, they've got the bowlers to take 20 wickets to win a game. Marco Jansen is such a good signing. Like, such a good signing. He adds that, like, left arm variation to your attack. He's quick and a really underrated batsman. The guy can bat, right?
Yep.
Like, his batting is...
I'm very excited to see him face his brother. Because I know they're better. And we did a nice episode, man. We did a nice episode with on lockdown with them too, with both the Jansen twins. You can go check that out on our channel as well in the playlist. But like, you can see the type of personalities, man. Like, Marco is the type of guy that speaks on the field. He's like, he shows on his attitude on the field, whereas Dwan is more of the outgoing talkative, fun brother out of the two, but they exactly the same player. It's ridiculous. They're exactly the same player. They just have different attitudes and personalities, but they look the same. They play the same. They're both left-handed.
They're very competitive as well. They're very competitive, so it's going to be great. But I think the Warriors will also start to develop different teams for different formats. Like as Gian Klutter is, I can't see him making that Red Bull top order, right? Like he's not gonna replace
Brzezinski anymore.
Or Jan Libbe. It's just not gonna happen. Value's been scoring runs for fucking 35 years. Like no one's gonna replace him. And Klutter's played for South Africa. Nobody even remembers that. Gian Klutter's played for South Africa, right? Like you got a Proteas call up in T20 format, so he's gonna have to settle for the. I mean, you can't not pick Brzezinski and Eddie Moore in the ODI formats either. Like Eddie Moore hit a few hundreds last year. You're not going to drop Brzezinski. So, like, you're going to have a guy like Klutter who's been picked for the Proteas. He's, like, trying to, like, figure out where he fits into this Warriors side. So, very excited about the Warriors. I think there's no reason that they couldn't win as well, right? I expect to see a little Warriors-Lions 4-day battle. And then I think the Dolphins in the white ball stuff. The Dolphins and the Lions. Just my prediction.
Cool. Let's move on. This is the team that everybody's excited about. Made some key signings. There's one particular one that stands out to me, and it's not the one that you guys might think it is. But the Dolphins are looking dangerous with the additions that they've made, especially with regards to Keegan Peterson. Othniel Boutman, not a lot of people have seen him, but he's a very decent player, especially I think this is particularly the signings they've made are so that they can spread across formats. So they have a depth across all formats. And I think that's what's very important over here. I think Keegan Peterson in the 4-day coming into that side with Marcus Ackerman and Grant Rulofsson, and they've got a fantastic batting lineup, fantastic bowling lineup. Ruan de Swart is the major one for me because I think that he is very underrated, a very talented player, and a champion at heart. He was SS schools for cricket and rugby, and he chose cricket. So the mentality and the talent is the athleticism is all there. The attitude, the belief in himself, fantastic player. We have an episode. No, we do not have an episode with him yet. We need to get an episode with Ruan de Swart. But we've done a few features on him. So we have an interview with him though that we did after he scored 100 against Western Province, I think.
Yeah.
So
I mean his numbers speak for themselves. I think right now for Northerns, he hasn't played a franchise game yet. He hasn't been called up to the Titans yet, or he wasn't called up to the Titans. But he's averaging 55 for Northerns with the bat. That's not too shabby. In 14 innings, I believe he has 300s and 450s. So in half his innings, he's made 50 or more, which is really, it sticks out. I've made a habit of not getting attached to players until they've played franchise cricket because I just get disappointed. It's like, when Arsenal get this new 19-year-old kid and I don't get attached. But just going through like the Dolphins batting lineup, right? It could be like Sarel Ervia, Grant Rulofsson, Keegan Peterson, Marcus Ackerman, like wild, bro. Wild. And Mutasami afterwards, like and Zondo in the middle as well. I mean, that's a wild. I'm quite interested to see where Ruan de Swart fits into this. Are they going to debut him? Is he going to be like one of the first names in the side where they're going to bat him? Is he going to play as like a specialist batsman? Is he going to play as an all-rounder? Like, what's his role going to be? But I mean, they're also looking exceptionally strong. I do think that Rulofsson, Ackerman, and Peterson are all Proteas candidates, though. Right? Like, we could see Peterson slotting at 3 for the Test side. We could see Rulofsson open for the ODI side easily. Right? We could see, I didn't even mention Rulofsson when I mentioned keeper batsman, right? And we could easily see Marcus Ackerman slot into that middle order at some point. So I think they've got 3 good signings there in the sense that they're not quite Proteas just yet. So they're not going to get called up and they will be there the entire time. But in a year or two, there's no reason those guys can't be featuring.
And remember, I said it here first, guys. It's going to be Leaf and Tanji's breakthrough season, I think. I think if he can get fit enough during this COVID period and come back, I think this is the time you guys are going to see a fast bowler that's really going to take your breath away. He's a brilliant bloody bowler, that guy. Fast, quick, accurate. I have a big, well, I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but I see a big future for that boy across all formats. I know maybe because he's gotten his debut only in the Momentum One Day Cup, he hasn't really played 4-day much. But you see, the trick with the young fast bowlers is, man, especially in the longer format, they don't play a lot of longer format cricket. So they're not used to their body going through that taxing, especially bowlers going through those taxing days. Oh yeah, Shailen Naidu over here is talking about Ethan Bosch as well here, and the Pavilion as well.
Bosch has got a bit of a rough deal over the last couple of seasons, in my opinion. I mean, he just hasn't got game time, right? Even De Pavilion, he's been struggling for a 4-day spot, right? Like, he's played for South Africa in the ODI side. He did well. He'll definitely start for the Dolphins in the ODI side, but he needs to become a regular in that 4-day side. He's quality. They need to play him. Him and Bosch, really good young fast bowlers. Keith Dujon, very good young fast bowler. They got Cohen Munger. I don't think he'll play the 4-day stuff. I think he'll play the white ball format. And I mean, they got Brendan O'Brien, wasn't he? I think he was the leading wicket taker last season, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, they look a really, really balanced side as well. They definitely up there. I mean, in my opinion, it's like I think the Titans have sort of the only side that's really sort of got weaker, in my opinion. I'm just going to say that's a bit controversial, and I think I think the Titans have sort of gone that way. The Knights have kind of stayed the same, in my opinion. And then we've seen the Dolphins get stronger. We've seen the Lions get stronger, and now we've seen the Warriors get stronger. So it's a 3-team race. But yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting season. Like you said, these are the most moves and signings we've seen in a very long time. It's going to be nice to see these new battles, right? They're like new faces, guys who weren't given chances now given chances, right? Especially when South African cricket is as weak as it is, right? When your international side is very weak, all of a sudden your ability to start knocking on that door gets a bit easier, right? South Africa is looking for guys. We're looking for an opening batsman. We're looking for a 3, a 4, a 5. We're looking for a seamer. We're looking for a spinner. We're looking for an all-rounder. So it's cool to see these guys playing, right? It'll be. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it.
It's interesting than I am to
IPL.
Yeah, interesting. It's interesting because we know we want to see the best players play the best players, and we want everybody speaking about that and saying, yeah, you want your players to play against the best in South Africa. Technically speaking, because of all the people that have left, we are going to be seeing the best in South Africa play the best in South Africa at the basic level. So
imagine adding Carl Abbott and Dwan Olafere and Simon Harmer and all those guys to the equation. I mean, that's a different video. We don't want to go down that avenue or be until 2 in the morning.
Of course we will. So let's move on to the last team. And that is also have made quite a bit of signings, have a lot of talented young players as well. And that's the Knights. Now, the one that stands out to me over here are the amount of batsmen that they added to their side. I think that someone like particularly Matthew Kleinveld was probably brought into the side just to clog up that space that Keegan Peterson has left. So the likes of someone like Veriska Adams, I think, is mainly for the shorter formats. He can play all formats, but I mean mainly for the shorter formats. And I think he moved to the Knights maybe because he's looking for more opportunities in the longer format, because we know that the Cobras are going to back Jason Smith as their number one all-rounder. It's obvious. So it's quite interesting. The people that they've.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find Matthew Kleinfeld's numbers from last season. Here they are. 43 average. He scored 250, 558 runs. I mean, that's a good signing, right? That's a guy that we haven't spoken of, that doesn't get spoken about on a sort of local level. So that was a really good purchase. I mean, if you compare him to, where's this thing gone now? I think he actually might have outscored Keegan Peterson. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, no, Keegan didn't have a great season last season. So
He didn't have a good season. So on paper, it looks rough to lose Keegan Peterson and replace him with Matthew Kleinfeld on paper. But if you actually look at their numbers, that's as a net effect, that's a good purchase for the Knights. But they've always been an underdog, the Knights. I kind of feel sorry for them, right? They don't have the same like resources or feeder system, right? So if you think about the Cobras have how many schools are there here? You've got like Paul Grim, Paul Boys, Paul Ruiz, Sachs, Bishops, Weinberg, so and so. You've got UWC, you've got UCT, you've got Stellies, you've got, I'm missing a varsity here somewhere. You've got 3 semi-pro sides. You've got Western Province, you've got SWD, and you've got Warlands, right? All feeding into the Cobras. Who do the Knights have? Knights have like one school. They've got Grey College. I think there's a university somewhere there, UFS or whatever they're called. And they always compete, right? How are they competing against these teams? And they always hold their own. And they back youngsters. They back Gerald Kutsia. They happily gave the new ball to a 19-year-old kid. They gave the captaincy to a 21-year-old Wandile Makwetu in the Momentum One Day Cup. Like I love watching the Knights play. On paper, they don't look as strong as these other guys. If we call a spade, they don't look as strong as the Lions and the Warriors and the Dolphins. But they always overperform, right? They're like that United team that had a. Yeah, never mind. Let me not go down that road.
Let's see how far you travel.
Came fourth with Arshavin and Javinia. Like how did we do that? Overperformance. So
we did overperform in the season that Van Persie was there.
Yeah, I mean, Shaylen mentioned Vandia, like he's. I think that's to be honest. Veriska Adams will only see in the one format. I think Miguel Pretorius is one that I'm quite interested to watch. I think he did well at the Lions, but he just knew like there's no ways he's getting game time at the Lions. And the Knights have just lost Marco Jansen, obviously. So they were short a fast bowler. They've got his brother as a replacement, but it's cool to see Pretorius there. Like he'll get more game time. He'll get more game time at the Knights than he would have at the Lions.
Go see our On Lockdown episode with Miguel Pretorius, and you'll get to know him a little bit better. I'm just punting all of those videos that these guys need to go in there and comment and like and share and all of those things and all those great things.
Yeah, man. We've got Shaylen and Aaron. Look at that.
Yeah.
We're global, guys.
And when Ravi's on, we get West Indies. So. Yeah, you see, I think the key here for the Knights will definitely be Reina van Tonder if he can repeat the season that he had. I think he has to do it, but you never know. It's been very difficult for the likes of, like, for example, Keegan Peterson. He scored 900 runs almost in the previous 3 seasons ago, and he couldn't repeat it last season. He struggled to do that. Hopefully, those guys that did top score the following season, the last few seasons, can do it again, because we want to see them do it consistently.
Absolutely. I think they're heavily reliant on Reynard van Tonder, Piet van Biljon, and Wandile Makwetu, right? That's how that's where they got all their runs. I think Reynard van Tonder was the leading run scorer. He got 843 at an average of 70. Piet van Biljon was fourth. He got 633 at an average of 63. And Makwetu, obviously, he was somewhere there as well. He only played 5 games, though, because he was injured. But I think he averaged 57 this season. Mm-hmm. So that's where their runs come from, right? Those 3 batsmen. Piet has been called up to the Proteas now, so that's why Makwetu was given the captaincy. So they might be without him at certain stages, but they do need to start preparing, for when he's not there. He's 34 years old now. They can't rely on the guy forever, so they do need to find another middle order batsman there. They've lost Peterson, and Piet could be gone in 2-3 years. Mm. So need to start developing those youngsters. Yeah. Maybe they can chapse a couple of batsmen from the Lions.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So that's all that we have with regards to the moves. So let's talk about the coaching a little bit then. We've got Ashwell Prince at the Cobras.
Mm.
Got a new coach at the Titans. Well, he was assistant coach, Mandla.
Mm.
We've got obviously I
Robbie
think
P.
Robbie P is at Warriors, but is Goban still the I think he is.
Dolphins have Imran Khan, I believe.
Imran Khan is Imran Khan is at the Dolphins. And the Knights have Alan Donald.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm mainly
it's good
excited about seeing Alan Donald, what he can do with someone like Gerald Coetzee. Obviously, everybody's going to want to see that.
If you're a 19-year-old fast bowler, like who's the one coach that you want at the moment? Like you're not going to do much better than Alan Donald, right? So that's really good. I mean, these are the kind of things that we want to see in South Africa. You want the Alan Donalds and the Gerald Coetzees. You want the Tony DeZorzi's matched with the Ashwell Princes, right, at the Cobras. Two left-hand middle order batsmen.
You think just like me? That was going to be my next point.
Yeah, Alan Donald, and you've got Robbie P and Jay de Klerk. Who's South Africa's test spinner after Keshav Maharaj? I have no idea. So you've got a young Jay de Klerk working with Robbie P, the left arm off spinner. So I mean, these are the kind of things that they don't get spoken about, right? But they make a huge difference. So,
and I just found out. I just found out last week that Robbie can bowl with both arms. So
Robbie
he can, yeah. So he gives some good insight to both, like someone like Leon Libba as well, and other guys as well.
Yeah.
John Smuts as well. So quite incredible.
I mean, it's good to see these guys being retained in the system. That's exactly what you want to see, right? I mean, we could go a step further. Big Vern could be helping out in the bowling department at the Cobras. Morne Morkel could be helping out in the bowling department at the Titans. These are the kind of things that you really want to see. But again, that's another video. We don't want to go down that avenue. But I'm positive, man. I haven't really been positive about local cricket over the last year, and I'm starting to get a bit vibey about it, man.
Yeah,
so they're probably not going to play for another 2.5 years, though. But like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, interesting to see what youngsters are going to come to that system as well. Maybe a guy that's from PE, Luke Beaufort. Maybe he'll have an opportunity. Also at the Warriors, maybe hopefully we'll see what's going to happen. I think, Amanpreet mentioned that in the comments. So
Berg, guy's been flipping taking wickets for years. He's been picked for the SAA side here and there. It's good to see him, sticking around. Those are the kind of guys each franchise needs. Sean van Berg, you need 2 or 3 of those guys at least. We always talk about youngsters, but at the same time, like Reinhard van Tonder is benefiting massively from a Piet van Biljon, So it's good to see these guys.
That's why I would love to see what we spoke about, if they can set up for this. Like, I know that people are going, I think they're going back to training in the coming week. I think that the people are going back to, I know the woman. Yeah, I think it is, eh? Yeah. So, I know I would love to see, I know now our dreams will come true because all of these youngsters are not playing, but I would like to see them like have 3 teams and put them up against each other. Like
absolutely, man.
It would be amazing to see that and let them play against the Proteas, ease them back into cricket. That would be great. And then they can get Pitch Vision or someone or Super Sport to
shit.
Yeah,
like proper
exactly.
7-man 4-day cricket, not fucking 8-side whatever they played, last man standing nonsense.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not going to play for the Proteas. Then the best you've got is franchise cricket, right? So we could even compress, like you said, franchise cricket into 3 teams. Not like as a whole, I mean, as like a warm-up thing, and get those guys playing against each other.
Yeah. Even if they mix it up. Like, say, for example, they have Proteas, SAA, and Emerging, right? Then they mix they can put like maybe 2. Maybe they can split it up over the 3 teams, like some Proteas players in the Emerging, SAA, whatever the case may be, and just mix them up, like some bowlers and batsmen. So you can see that against each other. You can see KG take on Faf and whatever the case may be. Like, like it's
absolutely, man. I'm all for that. It's such a good idea. It's simple as well. It's not rocket science,
Yeah.
And then you can't even say like, oh, we don't have the time. We don't, because you do have the time because you used it to play 8-man last man standing cricket, but like that's what I wanted. But like I'd love to see that, and I'd pay to watch that. I'd fucking pay to watch that any day of the week. I'd rather watch that than MSL.
Yeah, it's insane. My thing is also I want to see where these under 19 players, that there's some talented under 19 players that are coming through the system, and it's interesting to see where these guys are going to go play, and if they're going to get franchise call ups, etc. I know that I see someone mentioned in the comment section about Tian van Vieren, very talented player as well. He plays for Eastern Province. So I think he's going to continuously play there for now until he gets an opportunity, because I think the Warriors have as far as I can remember, yes, he is bowling all-rounder, I think. If I remember correctly. So so it's very talented players coming through the system. Pico Militani, I also want to see what's going to happen with him. Someone like Godise Molefe coming through Gauteng system is a spinner, very talented spinner. Obviously, I mentioned Lifa and Tanzi, Bryce Parsons, Joshua Richards from previous seasons. I want to see where Gideon Peters is going. There's so many guys that they are to talk about.
Limit to 5 guys that you would watch. Like, who are the 5 guys you have like your eye on the most at a franchise level?
At the franchise level at the moment. So Gerald Coetzee.
Absolutely.
Are you talking about like guys that are going to be like that haven't played in many matches?
Like, do you really want them to like push for a international call up?
Oh, international call up. Fuck. Yeah, okay.
They're not regulars. They haven't played for the Proteas, right? Like, who are 5 guys you really want to see?
Calvin Reiner in the test arena.
Yeah,
I want to see that happen.
I mean, he hasn't never performed, right? He's had 3 seasons at the Cobras, and he's performed in all 3. I think he's averaged 45 plus in all of those. So I mean, we can cover and I agree. I'd like to see Keshile come back, because he didn't have a good last season. He had a very good first season, then he had a cuck second season. So hopefully that can.
Keshile definitely.
Gerald Coetzee, like you said.
Grant Roelofsen.
I like Grant Roelofsen and
Eddie Moore.
I'd love to see Ntanzi like really. Like,
I can't wait to see that boy in action again. Really, it was.
He like plays Test cricket in 2 years. Remember when Rabada burst on the scene? We were just like, fucking, wow, this is awesome. Like, he could be that. Like, we have no idea.
I hope
so I'm watching
It's a pity he got injured when he got injured, man. It's a pity that he got injured at the wrong time, man.
Yeah, he must stop squeaking tacky.
Guys, I'll give you a story. I'll give you a story. So at the Kaya Majora week when I went there, right, it was here in Cape Town. That was the first time I saw him. Everybody was talking. I was Gerald Coetzee mad. Where's Gerald? Where's Gerald? I want to see Gerald. That was on my mind the entire tournament. He's the captain of the. He was going to captain the SA schools team. He was like, you know what I mean? I was like, Gerald mad. So I'm looking everywhere. And then I started talking to some of the players, and I asked him, so who's your... So I was interviewing some players after the games, and I was like, who's the person that you are most... Like, before the tournament started, I said, who are some of the bowlers that you're most scared of to face? And Ntanzi's name starts coming up. And I'm like, beef Ntanzi. Then one of my buddies, Sandile, he's now started his own podcast, guys, and his own website and blog, so please support him as well. I'm going to bring him on the show as well sometime, but... To introduce him and so he can punt his things that he started. But he told me I think he was the manager of the KZN junior team, and he told me, look here, Lifa, just go watch Lifa. So I went to Bishops, went to go look at Lifa. Yes, so the boy was was bowling so quickly that players couldn't play him. Like I was like, what's going on here? Like but I mean, okay, that age group maybe when you're bowling 140. And they were telling him, they stick out at school level. And also, but he bowls fast. They say they bowls faster than Gerald. And Gerald's quick.
Oh, really? Yeah. Gerald said that they like hyped each other. They were like, they wanted to be the fastest player.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, that competition.
Yeah, go look at our interview with Gerald on the channel as well. He speaks about Lifa as well. And I think some other players that we've interviewed as well speak about Lifa as well. So hopefully that his injury didn't set him back, because I know I saw that Gerald got slightly slower when he was coming back from his injury. And then he turned it up at the MSL after his first injury. And I don't know how fast he bowls now after his second injury that he got. So we'll have to see. I'm also very excited for Dayan Khalim. We interviewed him a few days ago. We interviewed Dayan Khalim. Also, he was Titans Player of the Season. Hopefully, he can do another one like that. He was also a player that was talked about a lot at school. He went to Rondebosch, and people were talking about him being the next Carlos Singh as well. Very talented player, but got a hell of a lot of injuries. Go listen to his story. It's quite interesting for you guys to actually.
Sure. I mean, I think the most open place in the test side at the moment is in the all-rounder. Like, we have no idea who our all-rounder is. Like, is it Dwayne Pretorius? Is it George Linde? Is it Andile Peklakaya? Khalim starts getting into that equation. Jason Smith starts getting into that equation. Delano Potgieter starts coming to that equation. So it's going to be, it's just awesome. You're going to see like a lot of guys, and that they're competing for the same spot. When Katsia and Tanzi are going at each other, why? There's a battle within a battle going on there in that game, and that's why we watch the stuff. And I encourage anyone, like, go watch a 4-day game. It's free. I suppose we're not going to be allowed to. When you go watch it, I mean, if it's at the Wanderers or if it's at Newlands, just go down, and it's free. You can walk in. The players they're friendly. They'll chat to you afterwards.
And if there's any season for scouts to want to scout, it's the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, guys, that's basically all we have for you for today. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for all the comments that you gave us and all the fun things that you've given us. As you know, what you need to do is obviously follow these at the bottom of the screen over here. You can see Click Your Fanatics Magazine. You can follow us on all the platforms, and please subscribe to this channel over here on this channel as well. Please subscribe as well, and to the YouTube channel. Press the notification bell. I see it's growing. So, guys, let's get to 1,000. Share this channel to everybody. We're close to getting 1,000 subscribers. And once we get 1,000 subscribers, it'll open up so many doors for us and so many opportunities for us going forward. So please help us keep this business alive and this channel alive, and so that we can continuously bring you these things. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Anything you want to punt to anybody, Dan?
Nope. Just subscribe. If we don't hit 1,000 in the next 2 months, and South Africa will lose in the final of the T20 World Cup. So it's in your hands.
It's in your hands, guys. You heard it here first. So thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week.